The pot roast was cooked perfectly, just like every Sunday dinner for the past 25 years. My mother, Diana, sat at the head of the table, smoothing her napkin with that cold precision she reserved for everything in her life. My father, James, carved the meat in silence. And my younger sister, Emma, typed furiously on her phone, half hiding it behind her designer purse. From the outside, everything looked normal, peaceful even. But underneath, the tension hummed like static before a storm. "Sophie." My mother's voice sliced through the quiet. "I noticed you're still working at that little bookstore." I nodded and took a bite of potato. "Yes, I am." "When are you going to get a real job?" she pressed. Emma just got promoted to senior manager at her firm. The comparison didn't even sting anymore. Emma, the biological daughter, the golden child, could do no wrong. "I like my job, Mom," I said softly. "Like your job." She dropped her fork with a clang. "You're 28, living in a tiny apartment, working at a bookstore. Do you know how embarrassing it is when people ask about you?" My father stared at his plate as if it held the answers, and Emma kept scrolling, pretending she didn't hear. "Mom, please." "No," she cut me off. "I've tried so hard with you, Sophie. God knows I've tried. When we adopted you, I thought," she shook her head, "I thought I could love you like my own." The room went dead silent. Even Emma's fingers froze mid-text. "What did you just say?" My voice felt small. My mother stood abruptly, her chair scraping the hardwood. "You heard me. I'm tired of pretending. You're not my real daughter. You never have been. I've spent 25 years trying to make you acceptable, but you're just not." The words should have crushed me, but they didn't. Not anymore. Not after what I'd discovered 6 months ago. I calmly reached for my bag, the one I'd started bringing to every Sunday dinner after learning the truth. "Sophie, sit down," my father said weakly. "Your mother's upset." "Upset?" My mother gave a cold, humorless laugh. "I'm done. Done watching her waste her life. Done explaining why my daughter can't be more like her sister. Done pretending this adoption wasn't a mistake." Emma finally glanced up, her face arranged into a polite mask of concern. "Mom, maybe." "No, Emma. Someone needs to say it." My mother pointed at me. "Sophie, I want you out. No more dinners. No more holidays. No more pretending we're a family." I stood slowly. My chair didn't even squeak. My hands were steady. "Nothing to say?" she taunted. Typical. Even now, no backbone. I looked at each of them, my father staring at his wedding ring, Emma already drifting back to her phone, and my mother glaring at me with 25 years of resentment burning in her eyes. "Thank you for dinner," I said quietly. Then I walked toward the door. "That's it," she snapped. "You're just going to leave? No drama? No tears?" My hand paused on the doorknob. "What did you expect?" I asked. "Something. You're being kicked out of your family." I smiled faintly. "No, Mom. I'm being kicked out of your family. There's a difference." I closed the door gently behind me. From my car I could see them through the window. My mother shouting, my father slumped, Emma staring after me with something that looked almost like worry. They had no idea. They didn't know what I'd discovered in the attic 6 months ago. They didn't know I had found documents, hidden in a metal box, that revealed the real truth about my adoption. Not just that I was adopted. I had always known that. But who I truly was. My adoption papers weren't from the agency they'd always mentioned. They were tied to one of the wealthiest families in the country, the Andersons. I was Catherine Anderson's daughter. The same Catherine Anderson who vanished from public life 28 years ago, only to reappear a year later as one of the most powerful businesswomen in the world. The same woman now preparing to step down as CEO of Anderson Technologies, with no successor named. I spent weeks investigating, connecting every piece until the truth became undeniable. Catherine hadn't given me up willingly. She'd been forced to by her father, terrified that a scandal would ruin their name. And the Winters, my adoptive parents, had been paid to take me and stay quiet. They'd used that money to build their successful business. The same business they never let me join. The same business Emma now ran. My entire life had been built on their lies. After uncovering the truth, I hired a private investigator to contact Catherine Anderson. She agreed to meet me at a small cafe 3 hours away. When she walked in, she stopped short, her dark hair and green eyes mirroring my own. Her first words were, "I've been looking for you." She told me everything. How her father had forced her to give me up. How she tried to find me once she took over the company. How the adoption records had been sealed and hidden. "I'm stepping down as CEO soon," she said, placing my hand across the table. "I've built this company into something extraordinary, but I never wanted it for myself. I wanted it for you." Over the next few months, I worked with Catherine in secret. She arranged online business courses, taught me the ins and outs of Anderson Technologies, and prepared me for what was to come. Meanwhile, I continued working at my little bookstore, which was actually a successful chain I'd quietly built using the knowledge I'd absorbed from watching my adoptive parents. Under a different name, they thought I was just a simple employee. The irony was delicious. The night of that final family dinner, after my mother's cruel words, I drove straight to Catherine's penthouse. "They finally did it," I said, sinking into her luxurious couch. "They threw me out." Catherine's face softened. "Are you okay?" I nodded. "I am. For the first time, I really am." She pulled out a folder filled with documents. "Then I think it's time. The board meeting is next week. Are you ready?" "I've been ready my whole life," I replied. The next morning, my phone erupted with messages from Emma. "Mom's freaking out," she typed. She didn't mean what she said. "Come home." I didn't reply. Next, my father called. "Princess, your mother's upset. We can work this out." I let it go to voicemail. Even my mother tried, leaving a stiff, formal message. "Sophie, you're being childish. We need to discuss this like adults." Like adults. After 25 years, like adults. I focused on the final preparations with Catherine instead. We reviewed reports, rehearsed my presentation for the board, and fine-tuned every detail. "They won't know what hit them," Catherine said, pride in her voice. A week later, as my adoptive family continued their barrage of calls and messages, the business world was rocked by breaking news. Catherine Anderson announces successor for Anderson Technologies. Long-lost daughter returns to take the helm. My phone rang. "Emma. Sophie, you're on the news." "Catherine Anderson's daughter. How is this possible?" I smiled, looking out the window of my new office on the top floor of Anderson Technologies. "You should ask Mom and Dad," I said calmly. "They can explain exactly how possible it is." The line went silent. They knew. All this time they knew. "Ask them about the money they received 25 years ago," I added silently. "Ask what they did with it. Ask why they never let me join the family business." I hung up and turned to Catherine, who was smiling proudly beside me. "Ready for the press conference?" she asked. I straightened my designer suit. "More than ready." The press conference was a whirlwind of camera flashes and questions. I spoke with poise, perfected under Catherine's guidance. No one needed to know about the tears, the anger, or the years of feeling insufficient. This wasn't about revenge. It was about claiming what was rightfully mine. The real drama came the next day. My adoptive parents arrived at Anderson Technologies, demanding to see me. Security called up and I instructed them to let the Winters through. They burst into my office, completely out of place among the sleek decor. My mother's perfect makeup couldn't hide her panic. My father's confidence had vanished. "Sophie," my mother began, then corrected herself. "Catherine Jr., we can explain." I leaned back, studying their desperate expressions. "Explain what?" "How you took money to hide me from my real mother. Or how you used that money to start your business while treating me like a burden." "We gave you everything," my father protested. "The bare minimum," I cut in. "While Emma got the best of everything. Private school, cars, a guaranteed position in the family business. Tell me, how much of her privilege was bought with the money you received for taking me?" They exchanged guilty glances. I knew I'd hit the mark. "Where's Emma?" I asked, noting her absence. "She's not speaking to us," my mother admitted. After learning the truth, I couldn't help but laugh. "Your perfect daughter finally saw you for who you really are." "We did what we thought was best," my father said weakly. "We needed that money. And you needed a home." "No," I said, standing and placing my hands on the desk. "What I needed was the truth. Parents who didn't make me feel like I was never enough. Parents who loved me for who I am, not for what they could get from hiding me." My mother stepped forward. "We did love you, Sophie. We still do. Please, we can't lose everything we've built." There was Not we can't lose you, just themselves. You won't lose everything, I said, producing a folder. I'm not like you. Anderson Technologies is acquiring your company at a generous price. You'll retain your positions under new management, including Emma if she wants to stay. They stared at the documents, shocked. Why? My father asked. Because 25 years ago you taught me my first business lesson. Everything has a price. Consider this me paying you back. Or even now. Catherine entered the office. My mother physically recoiled. Mr. and Mrs. Winters, Catherine said icily, I trust you find the terms fair, though it's more than you deserve. After what you did. Well, my mother threatened weakly, we'll tell everyone how you abandoned your daughter. No, I said calmly. Because that story makes you look far worse than it does us. Sign the contract, keep your positions, and we move forward professionally. Or don't, and watch everything built with that blood money crumble. They signed. My mother turned back one last time. For what it's worth, I am sorry. Not for what we did, but for what I said at dinner. You were always more capable than we gave you credit for. I nodded, saying nothing. Her words didn't matter anymore. After they left, Catherine put her arm around me. Are you okay? She asked. I am, I said, and for the first time I truly meant it. 2 weeks later, a letter arrived from Emma. Inside was a childhood photo of us playing in the backyard. I didn't know, she wrote. I'm sorry for every time I made you feel less than. You were always the better daughter, the better person. I'd like a chance to know my real sister if you'll let me. I placed the photo on my desk next to one of Catherine and me at the press conference. Past and present side by side. My phone buzzed with a message from Catherine. Dinner tonight, just us. I smiled, typing back. Yes. Sometimes the family you're born into isn't the one you end up with. Sometimes finding yourself means losing everything you thought you were. And sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's living well on your own terms. I had finally found my place, my purpose, and my real family.